So today I'm going to do a video that I did last season prior to the Concacaf Champions League, which is look at all 5 of these MLS teams that's going to be going to CCL and rank whoever is most likely going to make history and become the first MLS team to reach CCL. Now, obviously, I know this might sound like a cliche, but I kind of feel like this might be finally the year that an MLS team is going to win CCL. And especially when you look at this year and the teams that's going to be going to CCL out of MLS, it's much stronger than the one from last season. Though I will say that I think this is also the last year that CCL is going to use this format, because I know in a couple of years they're going to use a new format. But what's also very important about this year is that this year competition is not going to run throughout the entire part of the year. I actually did check the calendar of this year edition of the Concacaf Champions League, and it turns out it only runs to May. So it's kind of like we're going back to the old format, what Concacaf is trying to use, where it starts right around February when MLS team is still in preseason mode, while Liga MX team is already in mid-season mode, and then it goes all the way to May. So this does, of course, create a bit of a disadvantage for MLS team, and it doesn't kind of give them an advantage like they did last season, where at least as we get to the latter part of the competition, MLS team at least got a little bit of an advantage that they were in mid-season form, while some Liga MX team were like in preseason form, and it's almost kind of like how the table has turned of how the CCL has always been like that. But nevertheless, let us actually begin, and we'll start with number 5. And I know there's going to be some people that's not like this selection, and I'm not proud of myself to put the Colorado Rapids as the least likely team to win CCL. But when you look at this Rapids team out of the 5 MLS team that's going to CCL, they're no doubt are the weakest team. I mean, when you look at a team that doesn't have a DP in their roster, have question in terms of the number 10 position, and also have big question in terms of the number 9 position, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure Rapids fans are absolutely fuming at their front office and their ownership, because I've heard there's been talk that the reason why they haven't been able to get a number 9 is that they just don't have the resource to do so, which I feel like that's a huge doubt. Consider the fact that I know the Rapids are not one of the richest team. In fact, they're probably one of the poorest team in the league. But when you're basically owned by a guy that is known as Stan Kroenke, who basically has a team that is going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I mean, I know Kroenke has never been the guy that tends to share his well evenly throughout his team. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes me feel bad for the Rapids. The fact that no matter how much success that they have, they probably won't get to the next level, because they're kind of almost act like a small market team because of them limited in the budget. But that being said, again, going back to this team and in terms of quality, yeah, again, it's probably the least talented team in CCL. Though one benefit I will say with the Rapids is that at least they got at the part of the bracket where it's probably the easiest to advance far in the CCL. I mean, they're in the same bracket as NYCFC, though. Again, I feel like when NYCFC play against the Rapids in the quarterfinal, as I think that's probably most likely going to be an all MLS kind of matchup in CCL for this season, there's no doubt that I would go with NYCFC rather than the Rapids, because NYCFC have so much more talent than what we see with the Rapids. And now watch how that's not going to happen, because remember how last year I said the same thing about the Union, how they don't have a lot of quality, and they turns out to be the last team standing in MLS. So it seems like this theory is going to be the case, and I guess maybe Rapids fans should be happy the fact that I ranked them this low, because now they're going to prove everybody wrong again and go on a deep playoff run. I mean, if they can, of course, beat NYCFC, there could be a case where they could be facing the Seattle Sounders in the semifinal, and I know that's obviously not going to be an easy task too, but that the Rapids still want some revenge from the Sounders, especially of what happened about a couple years ago, or even just have a revenge against Cascadia team, because it seemed like the last 2 times that they got knocked out of the playoffs was because of a Cascadia team. Now, number 4, I'm going to say CF Montreal. So, for Montreal, they no doubt have the toughest road to potentially go to CCL final and win the whole thing. But I will say this with City of Montreal, they at least get to play against a Liga MX team that is not doing well this season. Like Santos this season is having a really rough start to the Liga MX season. I think they're like dead last in the Liga MX standing. Though I will say that it is still no joke to try to go down to Mexico, and especially go down there to play against Santos away. I mean that stadium, which I think it's called the Estadio Corona. That stadium is literally nicknamed the House of Pain for a reason. I mean that is one of the toughest places to play if you're a visiting team. I mean it's even a tough place to play even if you are a Liga MX team too. But the reason why I still rank Montreal very high is because again, they play against a Santos team that is not in form right now, and the fact that Montreal has been no stranger in terms of pulling upset in CCL. I mean, this has always been a team where no matter what kind of squad that they had, and there's no doubt that when you look at this Montreal squad, this is probably the best Montreal squad heading into CCL, probably since when they make that incredible run back in 2015. And I would say that this team is even better than the one that make that incredible CCL final run back in 2015. So yeah, I can definitely see Montreal go deep, though. After they are able to beat Santos, they do have to face another Liga MX team, and most likely that team is going to be Cruz Azul. I mean, unless if the pride of CPL, that is Forge FC, made it through to the quarterfinal and caused probably one of the biggest upset we've ever seen in CCL history. And that, as much as my dream scenario is that we have two Canadian teams face off in CCL, which I think that's the first time that has ever happened in this competition history. Most likely they're going to be facing a Liga MX team and playing against Cruz Azul. Yeah, it's going to be much tougher, and it feels like Montreal might be going through the same elimination process as what TFC did last season. Now, at number 3, I would say, well, actually, TFC wasn't in the Concacaf Champions League last year. I meant 2020 when they, of course, got knocked out by Cruz Azul. Or actually, was it 2021? I might be getting some of the year mixed up because of that. But either way, number 3, I'm gonna say New England Revolution. So the Revs, just like Montreal, unfortunately, they are on the right side of the bracket, and if you look at the brackets this year for the Concacaf Champions League, the right side tends to be the more difficult one. Though I will say the good news for the Revs is that they still have some of their key pieces that is still going to be on the team. So guys like Adam Buxa somehow is still on this team despite getting a lot of heavy interest in Serie A. And then Matt Turner, despite the fact that it was announced that he is going to be going to Arsenal, he's not going to be leaving this Revs team until the summer transfer window. So there's still time where he can definitely be part of this Revs team that could make history of becoming the first MLS team to win the Concacaf Champions League. But like I said, the road to CCL is not going to be easy. I mean, they're going to have to most likely face two tough Liga MX team before they goes to CCL. Like one of them is going to be Pumas, who, just as NYCFC of how even facing against a weak Pumas team is not that easy. And then of course, if they do get past the Pumas hurdle, they most likely could have to face Cruz Azul, unless if Montreal, of course, can able to cause another big upset. Which, by the way, if the semifinal is going to be between the Revs and Montreal, oh boy, expect some crazy thing that's going to happen, because that I also kind of feels like, I know not a lot of people will think this is kind of the way, but there might start to be a little bit of a rivalry between Montreal and the Revs, especially what has happened in the past couple of years. But most likely I would think that the Revs will have to face against Cruz Azul in the semifinal, and that's also another big hurdle that they have to try to go through. But I will say that this team, in terms of facing against a Liga MX opponent, I think the Revs are still a little bit better equipped than what Montreal is able to do. But again, we've seen before where even the best teams in the past in MLS have had trouble with Liga MX opponent, and we'll see whether or not if New England can, of course, handle them because, if they, I will say that if this Revs team were maybe on the left side of the bracket, then I would give them a little bit more opportunity to reach CCL final because, the left side of the bracket, I've said before, is the much easier side. Which, speaking of which, that's where number 2, I'm going to go with NYCFC as the second most likely team to win CCL because, as I mentioned, they probably have the easiest road to the Concacaf Champions League out of any team. I mean, after if they, of course, can able to deal with a Costa Rican side, they get to play most likely an MLS team in the Colorado Rapids, and I've already mentioned if they do face head-to-head against each other, I think NYCFC will get the upper hand. And then in the semifinal, most likely they will start to have their first test whether they face against Seattle or Club Leon, but I think they're equipped to do so because there are a lot of talent on this team. I mean, yes, they also did lose some talent, especially they lost one of their more important center back piece in James Sands this offseason. But they still have Tati Castellanos on this team, and like what I said about Adam Buxa, it is kind of surprised that Tati Castellanos is still with this NYCFC team, and I feels like it's going to be kind of the same case where the only reason why NYCFC is holding on to Tati is because, they want to make this good CCL run before, in the summer transfer window, they'll potentially move on for him and sell him off to somewhere else. And this is also why I think this year with CCL being kind of shortened and it doesn't take place throughout the year, there's this flexibility for teams that, they, even though they have some big asset on their hand, they don't really need to sell them until, like, let's say the summer transfer window because they want to compete in this competition and want to make some history and so forth. So yeah, that does make the decision a little bit easier for these MLS team. And again, with NYCFC, with the way that they still have Tati, they definitely will have chance to go deep in the competition. But now at number 1, the most likely team to win CCL this season, it's the Seattle Sounders. I mean, the Sounders, no doubt, out of all 5 teams that is going to be going to CCL out of MLS, they're the most talented team. Like, this team I've mentioned before in the season preview, this team is scary from top to bottom. Like, this team is equipped to really go deep and probably have the best opportunity to face against even the best team in Liga MX. Now, I know that their road to CCL final is not going to be easy too because, there's one big hurdle that they need to, of course, overcome if they can make it to CCL final. They have to play against Club Leon, but, last season in the League Cup final when they play against Club Leon, which, unfortunately they lost that one, they went toe-to-toe with them. Like, and you could even say that they were kind of the better team until the last 10 minutes when they, of course, collapsed, and that they definitely don't want to have that happen, and that, especially, they also want some revenge after what happened in the League Cup final. So, yeah, I think the Sounders, they are definitely equipped to make it a deep run, and that I know in the past the Sounders team and Brian Schmitz have always kind of downplayed this competition, and even with some good Sounders team in the past, they tend to don't go very deep because they don't really care too much about it. Oh no, this year is different. Like, you can clearly hear in the voice of Brian Schmitz, he cares about this competition. He wants to be that first MLS team to win the Concacaf Champions League, and again, I think there is a huge chance that they can do, because if they can get past the Club Leon hurdle, this team is going to have a huge chance of going into the CCL final, because after that they most likely will face an MLS team in an all CCL semifinal in either the Rapids or NYCFC. And if they do face against NYCFC, then it does get a little bit tricky. I mean, just ask the Timbers how they feel when they were the favorite against NYCFC in MLS Cup. But if they face the Rapids, I think the Sounders are going to be overwhelmingly the favorites, and most likely is going to be only, I think, the 5th MLS team to ever make it to CCL final. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for my rankings in terms of the most likeliest team coming out of MLS to finally win the Concacaf Champions League. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this ranking? Did I put some team too high, or did I put some team too low? And also let me know in the comments below is this finally the year where MLS team finally end the curse, and that they can able to lift the Concacaf Champions League by the end of this competition. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.